Hi. Today I would like to talk about errors in the translations of the Quran. As you know that in Reformist translation of the Quran, in the endnotes, I discuss the verses that we find distortions by Sunni or Shiite sects. And also in the beginning of this translation, Quran, a Reformist translation, I discussed about 15 verses, some of the key verses. Most of them are very important verses. They have been distorted, and through the analysis of the verses and rejecting, refuting the orthodox hadith and sunnah based distortion, I provide the methodology, means reason under the light of the Quran, means the verses of the Quran. When you look, and you will find that they explain themselves. And also you may in Manifesto for Islamic Reform, I compare, there is an extensive and also almost comprehensive table here, many pages, basically comparing hadith and sunnah based teachings, satanic teachings, and the teaching of the Quran. Major differences, incredible differences. You will be just surprised how entirely different religions being introduced in the name of Prophet Muhammad as a rival to the Quran. Therefore, today the Quran, in one of my writings many years ago, I said it is the most read but the least understood and the most betrayed book, holy book in the world. In 1992, this is the first print of my book in Turkish, Errors in Turkish Translations of the Quran. And you see verses of the Quran. I show the sections, the words or phrases they have mistranslated. And of course inside I have on the cover I show just a few as an examples. And one of them is this one. Today I would like to talk about this one, the one on the corner. It is 34, verse 34 of chapter 4. It is one of the verses that contains 4 major errors, and by this way basically makes women, basically the sectarian teachings, turn woman to a subordinate of man, a slave of man. Unfortunately, women's rights were taken back through hadith and many other great progressive message of the Quran and practices of Islam during the time of Prophet Muhammad were later reversed, and the teachings and practices of Jahiliyyah, means the days of ignorance, were resurrected through hadith and sunnah. And I would like to today about 434, please bear with me. I would like to share with you the okay, where is it? On a little paper I took some note, verse numbers. Okay, I found that one. Okay, the verse here. I compare 3 English translations with the Reformist translation. For example, this is this one, and as you note, I compare these translations. This is one of them is Yusuf Ali, Pickdal, and Shakir's, and the Reformist translation. And okay, here is let me read the translation, the correct translation, because most likely if you have a Quran it will have the distorted translation. The men are to support the women. And traditional translation usually they translate that section as men are in charge of women. Some translate better than the other. For example, Yusuf Ali translate this section correctly, but Pickthall translates wrongly. But all of them agree on one of the key section. They all unanimously mistranslate. Yusuf Ali translated the section, men are the protectors and maintainers of women, which is accurate translation. Shakir also translates correctly, men are the maintainers of women. And but most of the Turkish translation, not most, all of the Turkish translation, when I wrote this one, they all mistranslated as men are in charge of women. And this should be translated as men are to support the women or maintain women by what God has gifted them over one another and for what they spend of their money. The Reformed women are devotees and protectors of privacy, what God has protected. As for those women from whom you fear disloyalty, this section also heavily mistranslated. Then as been translated as for those from you fear rebellion, kind of. Some other translation translate accurately, but the Pickthall is one of the worst it seems in this verse. It translates, mistranslates 3 out of 4 keywords, which is 4 of them usually mistranslated. Okay, as for those women from whom you fear disloyalty, then you shall advise them, abandon them in the bedchamber and separate from them. If they obey you, then do not seek a way over them. God is high, great. And that section, and separate from them, that section has been mistranslated because of whatever reason, of course, their perception of women, and beat them, some put in parentheses lightly, and scourge them and beat them. This is the 3 different translations, Yusuf Ali, Pickthall, Shakir. Now I want to go over them a little bit, giving you a few verse numbers so that you could check after listening this one. The men are to support the women. That is الرجال قوامون على النساء. قوام in Arabic means maintainers, the one who provides, providers. And I don't want to discuss right now the issue with feminism. I am ready to discuss with any feminist. That is a fair, a fantastic rule, as a default rule that men should support women, should provide for women, but doesn't prohibit women from working or having wealth. In fact, just the other way around, that women are encouraged, in fact, through some measures, women are provided with wealth, economic independence. But women, because of their childbearing and caring children, those circumstances, and also educating the new generation, next generation, is a very important task. Therefore, women should be supported, provided by men as a default rule. Now, let's look at this one. The first verse, Qawam. Look at the same chapter, verse 135. You see they don't translate it, for example, Pickthall translated men are in charge of women, and you will see he doesn't translate it as in charge. In fact, it's translated as observers, to observe, to do it rightly. And also verse 5:8, and the word qawam is mentioned in both of them. You will look at the word, it looks alike, you don't need even to be able to read, and you see they translate it not the same. Therefore, there is something iffy about that. Why, when it comes to women, they just start mistranslating to create superiority over of men over women. For example, hukam, those in charge, is in verse the same chapter 2:188. It's not qawam. Aqimus salata means to observe the salah prayer. Qawam, qa'imuna bil qist, those are who are standing, who are observing the justice. Okay, the other mistranslation is فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. God has endowed them different gifts, have given them different skills. Some of them over the other, but doesn't say one party over only one, some of them over the other. It's absolute leave it mutual, means it is some group are the other have better skills over the other group, and the other group has also some better skills than the other. It doesn't define, doesn't specify what are those skills are, and doesn't specify which parties they are and how many different skills. But leave it there. It's very obvious from this verse and other verses that it is about different qualities. Okay. Are you okay? Different qualities we have been endowed with, and I want to give you some verses to check. For example, verse 4, chapter 4, 32, just 2 verses before. If you read it, it is very provides some light for this one. 32, let me read. Okay, 32. Do not envy what God has favored some of you over others. For the man is a portion of what they gained, and for the woman is a portion of what they gained. Ask God from his favor. God is knowledgeable over all things. It doesn't talk about only men gaining something. They have certain blessings. Also women have blessings. Therefore, the beginning of the verse, which contains the same phrase, فَضَلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ, or فَضَلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ, as a second person. Do not envy what God has favored some of you over others. If it was about man, would tell woman, come on, man has been given too many blessings, you should not be jealous of that. But the other way around, the Quran says both sides have their own blessings and gifts from God, different. There are areas women, in general, we are talking in general, some areas women are better than women, are more capable, more historically, evolutionary, more capable, better in doing those things, and other tasks men can do better. As one of the well-known that woman is better than raising kids in general. They have, first of all, milk. They have been throughout history for thousands of years, they have been taking care of kids. Therefore, those who are skilled in raising kids, they are the ones who survived, their kids survived. Therefore, the girls who survived, they are better, the better all the time, and then we end up with better quality in caring children, or in talking, in expressing, or reading subtle gestures, facial non-verbal clues to see what kind of emotional state the person is. This is women are more perceptive and skilled than men in this regard. Man is more muscular, maybe more risk taker, and women should be more protector and loving. And this is in general. Or men may find their way in the wilderness, in wilderness, in forest, better than women, because through thousands of years men have been the hunter as opposed to just the last few centuries. But most 99% of human life on earth, men were navigators. They had to navigate better, otherwise they would not survive. If they don't survive, their children would not survive. And by this way, those men who could not find their way, they were eliminated from the gene pool. Okay, now that's clear. And another verse I would like to give you, 13.4, it compares trees and vines difference, but again, فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. This is how God made some better than the others, but again, doesn't tell us which one is better than the other. In fact, based on verse 4:32, you should understand each of them will have different qualities. When you pay attention to the usage of the words, the Quran means each party, each group have some different qualities. That's it. And the same is used about messengers. For example, verse 2, chapter 2, the same chapter, 253, and chapter 17, verse 55, the same. God made some messengers, gives some messengers different qualities than the other. Again, it doesn't mean one messenger is better than the other. Each have their own different qualities and skills. Unfortunately, through fabricated hadiths, they made Muhammad all above messengers. They put messengers in competition. In order to accomplish that, they fabricated many miracles, and some of them are silly and stupid miracles in the name of Prophet Muhammad. One of them, a child, a little kid, passes in front of the prayer. He curses the kid, and the kid becomes handicapped, cannot walk anymore. It's unbelievable, this miracle, and points at the moon, and moon splits, and half of the moon falls in another hadith in Ali's backyard. Those kind of silly hadiths. But the Quran doesn't provide us any list of preferences of messenger. And second, even if God did prefer one to the other, which is not, we should understand means God endowed each of them with different properties, qualities, and skills. But even if it is their God, you are not God. You are subservient to the messengers. You follow the messengers. They are role models. Therefore, you are not out there to say this is better than the other. Who are you? Shame on you if you are doing that. And the third keyword that has been distorted is daraba. فَضْرِبُهُنَّ. Oh, the other, before daraba, I would talk about the nushuz. Our translation says, as for those women from whom you fear disloyalty, nushuz, disloyalty. It is about man is going out, working, a woman staying behind. If a woman is flirtatious and having kind of some affairs or entertain an idea to have affairs with someone, this is within the context of this verse. Men should advise the woman, the wife, because they have contract to stay loyal to each other. The same with the man, which we'll talk about that verse now. And if woman continues this kind of reckless or disloyal attitude or even behavior, and then before divorce they may separate their homes. In fact, there is one verse in chapter, I think 65, makes this kind of circumstance an exception, that woman could leave the house. If it is the house belong to men, in case of disloyalty, woman may ask the woman to leave the house, but other than that cannot tell woman to leave the house immediately. Woman should be taken care of until another house was found for her, or men will leave the house. Okay, therefore disloyalty, but I want to pull your attention, if you see any translation of the Quran, like Pictal says, as for those from whom you fear rebellion, and then which is wrong because it puts men on top as his commander-in-chief and women subservient, like a soldier following the orders. No, it is about disloyalty in issues. In fact, the same word is mentioned in the same chapter, verse 128. There you will also find nishuz, but this time for men. Well, if you are translating here in verse 434 as disloyalty, you should translate their disloyalty too. It is about relation man and woman. But if you are translating as a rebellion, then over there also you should be translating as rebellion. Then mean when man rebels, woman, this creates problem for them, because the male chauvinists who really took over, unfortunately, assumed, arrogated themselves to become power brokers between God and us. They basically could not accept that they make stupid arguments about why men should are superior over women. I would like to talk to you about that. I want to look at verse 4, 128. Let's see what we have. Remind me, I would say, not forget about what kind of arguments they make. Recently I had a Turkish letter, a lady sent to me how a Turkish guy was claiming that men are superior to women, but using stupid, of course, hadith, based on hadith, but reasoning was messed up. Okay, 128. If a woman fears from her husband disloyalty or estrangement, then there is no sin for them to reconcile between themselves, and reconciliation. If a woman fears from her husband disloyalty, but they all translate disloyalty here in the shoes, but they don't say rebellion, because rebellion means man is rebelling the superior, and they could never accept that one. Therefore, here they translate correctly as disloyalty, the word in the shoes, but when they come to verse 434, when it is the action of women, say rebellion against men. In fact, qanitat, for example, it is not, some people think it is obeying man. It is no, it is obeying God, qanitat. The woman, or throughout the Quran, it is used in the context of obeying God's law, obeying God, obeying the Quran. And therefore you see it is just the words, when it is about man-woman relationship, they just, instead of God, they put man as the subject or the object of that kind of actions. We should be careful about that too. Okay, another, which is the most crucial part of it, is darabe. It is translated as a beat. We translate it as separate from them. Here is Yusuf Ali says, beat them, in parentheses, lightly, and scourge them. Piktal Shakir says, and beat them. Check other translations. If they are not, I think in modern times, I haven't seen anyone. I am the first one who brought this issue in this book, and later in this translation, Quran Reformist translation. And thank God it is picked up. And afterwards, some translation, I think an Iranian lady, Lalepour, her name, I don't know, she has also translation. She was inspired by this translation, did it, and there is one Turkish translation after my correction, after publication of this book. That translation also corrected this section. But still, this is staying, and I hope that in the future, the translators, when they revise their translation, that translators give up from them. They don't have chance to be corrected. Maybe the editors could put footnotes saying that the meaning of this word is not beat all the time. It is multi-meaning word, and it is like the word strike in English. I would like to later discuss why multi-meaning word is used for his. You may justifiably say, why God used this word, and some male chauvinists want to beat women to justify. A clue. Whatever the strongest, the clearest words you use, these religious charlatans or politicians, they will find a way to twist it, to think it is not. No word is foolproof for hypocrites, for those who want to distort. Therefore, God allowed test, because the verse of the Quran is very clear regarding how marriage should be. Chapter 30, verse 21, I remind you, chapter also 49, verse 13, these two verses. There are many, many other verses, but They are very clear. Verse 49:13 says God created us in different tribes and kind of groups and like ethnic groups, and also male and female, in order that we can get to know each other, learn from each other different things, enjoy diversity. And the verse ends by saying that the superiority is by righteous acts, by righteousness. The superior among you are the ones who are righteous, good deed. Finished. Not male and female. You cannot be claiming that because you are a man, you have kind of different genital and you are superior over woman, or you are woman, you are superior than man, or you are Anglo, you are superior than Indians, or Turk over Kurds, or Kurd over Turks, or Arab or Jew, you are kind of chosen tribe. Well, chosen for test. You did bad things, good things throughout history. You are not kind of a super duper man or Spider-Man. Don't think that way. You are all like us, but you are chosen maybe an example for humanity as a micro prototype human, how reacts to blessings and tribulations in life. Okay, and here I provide you with the list of usage of the word daraba, and I want to give you, in case you may see the verse numbers, chapter numbers. The first digits are chapter number, after colon are the ones are verse numbers. Okay, and I hope you can see. You can stop it and see. I'm shaking a little bit. Sorry for that. Okay, the word daraba is used in many ways, like travel to get out. فَضْرِبُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Some who knows Arabic a lot, they will claim, Edip, you don't know Arabic, there is fee here. I know much more Arabic than many of Arabs. Therefore, look at this. I don't want to go over details here because it take long. But there are some usage even without that, without fee. To strike, to beat only in 2 verses, and to set up, to give examples. Daraba masalan, give an example. To take away, to ignore, or to condemn, to seal, to draw over, to cover, like فَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِجُيُوبِهِنَّ فَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. Let them cover their chest with their cover. Not head cover, that's another distortion they make. We had a video about that, about women's head cover. And to explain, even 13, chapter 13, verse 17. But I have given this one, it is here. You can see, I think, in this, the introduction of this book at 19.org, check that one too. Now, shortly about superiority of man, someone was saying, well, we are superior because look at the Quran. Well, he doesn't say the Quran. He says there are 124 messengers came, 124,000 messengers according to Hadith, and none of them are women. First, the very Hadith about 124,000 is a hearsay, several hundred centuries fabricated by many liars. Therefore, this number is not given in the Quran. The Quran says there are messengers. For every community we send messengers. Some of them we mentioned, many of them we did not mention. But such a number is not given, but this is made up out of the hat. Someone has taken this number. They make up numbers, all kind of lies. For example, one of them lied. How many verses in the Quran? 6,666. 666, 4 sixes. No Quran version you can find this many verses. It is just made up. There's 6,346 verses with unnumbered basmalas maximum. That's it. Anyway, this is 124,000 is just made up. Second, how do you know none a single woman? First of all, do you know all the names and records and you have proof for them? No. You check whether they are male, female. This is another lie, just made up. And second, And the third problem with this, well, in Torah there are some prophets, some messengers of God who are women, like Deborah, like several of them, I forgot their names. Well, I don't trust Torah, they may say. Well, fourth point, who God sends messengers, prophets to? They are sent to ignorant people, arrogant people, aggressors, those who oppress women, the orphans, those who do not care about needy people, those who are greedy, those who are claiming to be power brokers between you and God, intercessors between you and God, those who oppress people, take people's freedom. Against those people, God sent messengers. Therefore, it seems kind of throughout history, men needed more, those kind of warners. Those who transgress, they needed. And God sent messengers to nations who transgressed. And it's very clear in the Quran, the opponents of messengers, almost all in the Quran that are mentioned, they are male. Pharaoh, was he woman? No. Man. Bad, very bad man. Qarun, man. The slave owner, the capitalist. And I know you may be brain polluted by the capitalist dogma. You say capitalism is not like slave ownership. It's another issue. And Haman is another. He was the commander of Pharaoh. And Abraham's father, who chastised Abraham, who threatened Abraham because he did not worship the idols, he did not accept the lies fabricated by the oligarchy in order to turn people to slaves, to submissive citizens. And that's the freedom. Monotheism is freedom. You are free. You only seek the truth. You stand against anyone who wants to dominate you, claim power on their own. You trust God alone. That's incredible. That's the way it creates an egalitarian system, a system based on individuals who are free and also support each other as free agents in the society. Okay, you see Muhammad's opponents, they were all male. Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, maybe few women. In fact, it was overly exaggerated in a movie called The Message. It was a good movie, less hadith, influence of hadith. Though they didn't show the picture of Muhammad, Anthony Quinn played in that one. Unfortunately, whenever they were supposedly talking to Muhammad, they were showing a camel's neck and head. What an insult to Prophet Muhammad. Because they worship Muhammad, they cannot symbolize him with a human being like him. The Quran says, قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. Say, I am a human being like you. They cannot accept him as a human being like you because they worship him. Therefore, they don't want him to be represented by a human. Therefore, they react to the pictures or any kind of things resembling Muhammad. They don't care about other messengers. Jesus insulted, they don't care. God is insulted, they don't care. It is because they worship, but they lie. They say, no, it is kind of insult. Well, insult why? Because you don't want him to be perceived as a human being. Okay, therefore we see throughout the Quran, these really males are the worst, have been. Look at the prisons, the murderers throughout, just even now in this century. Stalin, correct? Pol Pot, who killed millions, both of them. George Bush, who killed about 1 million in Iraq alone based on lies. Hitler, male. What is it? In Israel we see this Sharon, male. And Radovan, whoever, this Serbian Christian massacre, the guy terrorist who killed many Bosnian Muslims, he's male. And Khomeini was male, correct? And we see all Saudi kings, these corrupt oppressors, Taliban, the leaders of Taliban, these monsters, these pigs, they are all male. Therefore, hello, look. Therefore, if male are the worst, of course God, in order to warn them, God sends someone among them, because God says if it was angels inhabited the earth, the land, the earth, God would send angels. If male need warning, God sends males, because male would at least will be a little bit listening to the male, will kind of pay attention. Women, they would not even allow her to talk. And but with time, thank God, the issue has been changing. Women are getting their rights because of the manpower. No more muscle has so much, is not a big factor in determining who is winning. Now it is brain power, and women is catching up because they have been deprived from education, from independence, from confidence, human rights. And thank God they are catching up, and it is fantastic. Even one example is, as you notice, messengers being all male doesn't make them better, because already they are the benefit they male get from positive benefit having some messengers. All the worst people who oppose them already negative. Take the positive way, make it neutral. Ah, you don't like Jews. You, especially, I'm talking about Sunni and Shiite males. Unfortunately, you became racist. Jewish people, there are fantastic people among them. There are also strays like you guys. But you became racist, which the Quran condemns racism. And the people who you condemn are bad, bad, bad people. And what about them? The Quran mentions about 27 messengers and prophets in the Quran. Most of them are Jewish. Maybe few are not Jewish. That's it. That means they must be much superior than you. As an Arab, you got Muhammad alone, but Moses, Joseph, David, Solomon, Yahya, Isa, Jesus, these are all Jewish prophets. You cannot say Muhammad was better than them. How can you say that? It's against the Quran. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. We do not make any distinction between messengers. Okay, you say, oh, your Arab became the best because Muhammad, because you made up stories, lies about Muhammad. Well, Jewish people become second best. There are many other ethnic groups, at least attack others while you are attacking these people. Well, maybe Jewish people needed more messengers. Sometimes God used them as an example. God blessed them with the best blessings, with great blessings throughout history, with great messengers, prophets, and accomplishment. And also they transgressed, they did worse things. Great scientists comes from them, but the worst crooks, bankers, who steals people work through so-called financial industry, interest, usury, banking system. They are them. But on the other hand, they are fantastic people who serve humanity through their mind, their creation, their scientific endeavors or ideas. Like Noam Chomsky, for example, a Jewish person. He's a fantastic thinker. And throughout, I think in this time, he is the most referenced scientist now. Anyway, one of the examples I want to finish right now. One of the examples the guy was giving, I don't want to elaborate further, says, well, we are superior because when we were sperms, we were the one defining whether it be male or female. Therefore, sperm is the better, superior one than egg, more superior than egg. Therefore, male is better than female. That's also not good. Not a good argument. It gets F. It gets F from me. Why? Because you're not thinking. Think. egg, one egg, millions of sperms. Imagine inflation of something doesn't increase the value of that thing, especially when they need to match 1 to 1. And these sperms, they compete with each other for death. And one of them wins, rarely 2, 3 of them, we call them twins and triplets. But most of the time one of them wins, the rest dies in their quest to reach the queen, the egg. Doesn't care about them, standing there, hanging in the womb or ovary, whatever the name you call it. I'm sorry, I'm so bad in these words. My pronunciation perhaps is not that good at this time because I talk too much Turkish. After that, now I talk. It's really the quality of my English goes down. And yes, many of you, one reaches there, that egg doesn't move, this one goes. Which one is better? The one goes to the door of someone else, or the one who is waiting in kind of chair, and the other are competing. Imagine you are in your mansion, and there are 1 million people wants to get to you, okay? And meanwhile they stampede, they kill each other, some of them from thirst and from hitting their head to the wall or exhaustion, they die, and only one of them can make it to you, the rest dies. And the one who reaches you say, I am superior than you. Then get out of here. Why you compete for that? You came here if you are superior. It's ridiculous, stupid. Why they get this idea, these stupid ideas? Because the hadith books was fabricated mostly by male in order to resurrect the teaching, the dogmas of days of ignorance. They hated the Quran, and they fabricated many hadiths saying that 99% of hell will be filled with women. Unfortunately, incredible. Or man, if there was another God besides God to be worshipped, a husband should have been worshipped by women. Wow, incredible. Basically puts man in position of God over woman. Or this one is very famous. If any woman defend hadith, I say then, according to your own hadith, you deserve this. If in front of the prayer, a dog, a donkey, and woman passes, then the prayer is nullified. In another hadith, instead of dog, you see pig. I say, if you are defending hadith, here is a sahih hadith. I call it khabisi sharif instead of hadisi sharif. Khabis means dirt, filth. This is filth. And sharif make it really oxymoron. And that's incredible, terrible hadith. And those whose leader are women, they will do this and ban women from praying and reading the Quran when they are, it is finishing. And when they have menstruation, it is also against the Quran, many other things. We'll discuss this issue. Therefore, today we discussed 434. I hope you will get a copy of Reformist translation, also in PDF available, and study the Quran on your own. Thank you.